So I thought today we could harken back to the early days of YouTube and do an autumn favourites video. And I've been watching YouTube for probably over 15 years now, and I remember when everyone used to do monthly favourites. So I thought I would just bring it back and do like a fun, cosy, like autumn favourites. It's kind of like favourites slash recommendations. Just things that I think would be good to enjoy in this season. And I know a lot of people are thinking it's too early to go into full autumn mode, they want to wait till the equinox and that kind of thing. For me personally, autumn is my favourite time of the year. September and October are my favourite months, and I just like to squeeze every drop of autumn out of them as much as I can. So I'm going to be in full autumn mode for these 2 months now. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. So I've written down my favourites, and I'm going to show you some stuff. We're going to talk about books, films, TV, clothes, other random stuff, and it's, yeah, a blend of favourites and recommendations. So I'm going to start with books, and this is probably going to be the longest section because I could talk about this a lot. And I had to chop this down because there's so many things that I wanted to fit in that I just thought it's going to be too long. So I've got a big pile of books here, and I'm just going to go through them and give you my recommendations. So this is a book that you probably have seen all over the internet, and it is Babel by R.F. Kuang. And I absolutely adored this book. Like, it just clicked in my brain. Something about it was just so incredible to me. It's set in Oxford in autumn. It's back to university time, back to school time. So it's got that like autumnal feel to it. It's got all the descriptions of Oxford. But it's kind of like a semi-fictionalized version of Oxford. It's like a different reality. And there is language magic. And I thought it was one of the most unique magic systems I've ever come across. I read a lot of fantasy and stuff, so I've read a lot of magic. But this was like, kind of like when you have two languages and there's like a missing gap between the translation of words between them, the magic comes from like whatever meaning was in that gap. That's the best way I can describe it. It's obviously described much better in the book. But it's got loads about Chinese language and other languages, and it's just so clever. You can tell how intelligent she is. And it's really interesting because I think the full title maybe is Babel, The Necessity of Violence. And to me, the whole book read as like a kind of like an argument for, is violence necessary when it comes to like overthrowing a like tyrannical empire or something. So it's got that woven into it. It's very sad, very intense, very like just incredible. There were some bits towards the end where my heart was like actually racing the way that she wrote it. So I definitely recommend that. And I can't recommend it yet because I haven't read it, but I've put it on my birthday list. My birthday's in a few weeks, which is her new book, which is, I read it as catabasis. I think some people say catabasis, and I saw an interview where she was like, no one knows how to say it. Like, she doesn't even know, no scholars know, which is set in Cambridge, but like magical Cambridge. So I think it'll be like similar kind of academic vibes, but I really, really adored this book. I think it went straight to the top of like one of my favourite books ever. The next one is a non-fiction book, and I was actually sent this one, which I'm really grateful for, because the author, Icy Sedgwick, she is from the Northeast as well, and she has a really amazing blog all about folklore and a YouTube channel as well, where she'll interview like experts from different things in history and folklore. And she's got a couple of books out now, but this is one of the non-fiction ones that's just come out. It's really beautiful. It's got like sprayed edges and these really cool illustrations, and it's basically about different ghosts from across the world. So I'll just give you a little hint so you can see the kind of vibes that it is. But it's basically like little profiles of different types of ghosts, which I just thought was really perfect for this spooky season, this time of year. And also obviously I'm massively into folklore, and I'm assuming that a lot of you guys are too if you're here watching the channel. So yeah, it's really cool, and the illustrations are like a really interesting, like cool design as well. So if you're interested in ghosts and spooky things and folklore, I think this would be really good to pick up. This is a slightly more I want to say like basic, easy, fun read, which is Payback's a Witch. And I have to put this in as an autumn recommendation because it is like the most autumnal book ever. It's very like, there seems to be like a thing right now of like fun, easy, cozy, witchy fantasy books, and that's definitely one of those. I don't always love them because I do like a bit more going on, like a bit higher stakes, like a bit better writing, dare I say. But this one was really fun, and there's so many descriptions of like pumpkin spice cocktails and caramel apples and all this type of thing. It's kind of like a classic story of like this woman is a witch, but like she doesn't want to be, she just wants to be like normal, whatever. So she goes back to her little hometown where everyone's magical and there's like different love interests and all that type of stuff. So it is a fun one to read in like October time if you're just feeling something like fun and casual and very autumnal. I already mentioned this in the last video, so I'm sorry if you've already seen it, but I had to put in A Discovery of Witches again. The original series is a trilogy, but then I think she's written a couple more maybe about this character, which I have not read yet. But A Discovery of Witches is, again, so intelligent, and you can just tell how intelligent Deborah Harkness is who wrote it. I think she is a historian, and she obviously knows a lot about real alchemical manuscripts and like 16th century England and stuff like that, because she puts that into these books, and it's basically follows a witch who's a historian at Oxford, and she is researching alchemical manuscripts, and she basically goes to the Bodleian Library in Oxford and she puts in a request for an alchemical manuscript she wants to read, and it comes up and it's like this enchanted manuscript, there's pages missing from it, and she's the first person who's been able to call it up in like thousands of years. So like everyone goes crazy, there's like vampire romance, but like really nicely done, like not tacky, and it's so many descriptions of books, manuscripts, old pages, like French castles, Oxford streets, libraries, and loads of descriptions of cups of tea. So I cannot recommend this more for an autumnal read or just a read in general. They are quite chunky, but it's just when you read a book and you're like, this woman is very intelligent, she knows what she's talking about and she knows how to write, and I just love that, so definitely recommend this one. I don't think it would be autumn without reading some kind of gothic literature, and I'm going to be quite basic in my recommendations here in case you haven't read any. But when I was in school, many moons ago now, I was like obsessed with gothic literature because I was like an edgy little goth teenager. So I just hoovered up anything that I possibly could, and I collected some books back then. And I found this in the charity shop, which is a really beautiful edition of an Edgar Allan Poe collection. And if you haven't read Poe, then I would really recommend just diving into like some short stories and poetry and stuff. And there's a lot of really beautiful editions like this, which has got loads of different stories in. And I used to just hoover this stuff up, as I say, back in the day. And there's like a lot of selections of stories in here. So For the House of Usher is a classic one, The Telltale Heart, The Black Cat, The Mask of the Red Death, like all these stories. They're quite easy to just dip in and out of because they're quite short, but they're just really good for like that gothic autumnal vibe. And then I'm always on a vampire thing. Well, I'm always on a vampire thing no matter what, but I'm always on a vampire thing in autumn as well. So I was thinking about rereading Dracula. I haven't read it for a very long time, and I was gifted this edition for Christmas. Was it last year or the year before? I can't remember. But it's just a really cute little like mini version of Dracula, and these gothic books crack me up sometimes because a lot of them were written at a time when science was like, you know, the most prized thing, and logic and reason. So a lot of it is like these very like scientific guys who like stumble across some like unexplainable supernatural horror and then like try to explain it away and can't deal with it and stuff. Dracula's basically that, but there's a lot like that. A lot of Edgar Allan Poe stories are like that as well. But yeah, I've just been on a classic literature thing at the minute. So I mentioned in my last video, I'm reading Phantom of the Opera at the minute, which I would recommend as an autumnal read as well. But I just wanted to throw in like some basic classic gothic novels as well. And then I've definitely talked about this book before, but I have to recommend Truly Devious. I've tried to do like a bit of a variety of books here, like different genres and styles and stuff. So this follows the story of a girl called Stevie Bell who like, it's such a unique character, and also probably like the first character that I've ever read where I was like, I 100% relate to this girl. Like, usually characters are like a bit aspirational or like the opposite, but I was just like, this girl is real and weird, and like, I just love her. And she's obsessed with crime, basically, and solving mysteries, and she goes to this school, which is like a kind of like an elite boarding school for like people who've got like really specific special interests and stuff, and are like really good at specific things. And the owner of the school, the guy who like set up the school, there's like a cold case related to his family, and she wants to solve it, basically. It's 3 books. It does go from like autumn to winter vibe, but it's got that like back to school thing. It's in Canada. There's loads of like maple donuts and coffee and mountains and the old building and like all these mysterious secrets and stuff. So I absolutely loved this trilogy. I thought it was really clever, really well written, and as I say, I just loved the characters as well, and I loved Stevie. And there's a couple more books about her now, some set in summer and things, but this is like a good autumn to winter transitional read, I think, which will just get you in the kind of like mystery vibes. Okay, next I'm going to talk about films and TV, and I don't have DVDs for them all, but I've just picked out some that I do. And I couldn't do this video without mentioning Buffy the Vampire Slayer. As I say, I do love vampires. And I found this in the charity shop for £1. And it's only season 4, but it's just the most beautiful edition, and I wanted to show you. Yeah, and it's got all these different pages, basically just loads of pictures of her, and like the discs and stuff. And I just thought, isn't that really cool? And it was only £1, but anyway, I absolutely adore Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I think it's just, well, it's perfect for any time of year really, but it's that back to school vibe because they are at school. It's very cozy and fun and funny, but at the same time like really heartfelt and earnest, and gets really sad and serious, but in a good way. Some of the like later seasons just shattered my heart into like 1,000 pieces, really cleverly done. The romances will have you like yearning. They're so well developed. The characters are amazing. It's definitely some kind of like cheesy special effects for some things, but it's just, oh, I think this is like my favourite series ever, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It's just so good. Some other things that I always watch at this time of the year, so I won't mention the author of the book, but Coraline is a really good film for this time of year because it's like got that spooky but also whimsical feel, and it's got a lot of like scenery of like autumn leaves and trees, and it's got that like, yeah, like horror but kind of like magical cozy feel to it. So I always like to watch Coraline at this time of year. Then I've run out of DVDs now, but other things that I would recommend is the Discovery of Witches series as well. So they've made a series of the books. Obviously it's nowhere near as good as the books, not even close, but it's still really nice to watch, and it's shot really beautifully. I will say that the last season was shot during COVID, so they had to really pull back on a lot of what they were doing, and you can tell. So that is a bit of a shame. A lot of this stuff wasn't really like, it wasn't done as well as it could have been, but I guess, you know, they had to do it under those circumstances. But it was still really entertaining, it was still fun, and I think it's a nice one to watch at this time of year. Something I always watch is Sleepy Hollow, and as I say, I was a little goth teenager, so I was always obsessed with Tim Burton, and I love this film because mainly of the way that it's shot. The scenery is just absolutely stunning. It is so gloomy, it's so autumnal, like orange leaves and like sparse forests and mist and gloom, and it's all about the headless horseman who's terrorizing this village. Again, a lot of like scientific men who are like, oh, it couldn't possibly be a real headless horseman. And it is about this guy trying to basically solve the mystery and find out who's chopping all these people's heads off. But yeah, it's a really nice one. There's some twists in it, and it's just really beautiful. I always watch The Craft at this time of year as well. I'm probably rattling off stuff that you've seen a million times, but it's basically a really classic witch film about this girl who moves to a new town, a new school, and gets involved with 3 witches at the school, and things just basically get out of hand from there. But I just love the vibe of it, the costumes, like the aesthetic, the vibe. Like, I just love anything that's like kind of like 90s or early 2000s, like witch and vampire stuff. There was just such a cool thing going on at that time. So that definitely fits into that category. 2 films that are very sad but beautiful and have kind of got similar vibes of that like dark academia, autumnal, back to school feel are Dead Poets Society and Maurice. I don't never know if I'm saying it right. Maurice. And Dead Poets Society will shatter your heart into a million pieces. So just make sure that you're ready for that when you watch it. It's Robin Williams, and he is a teacher at this school, and I can't really say much more without giving it away. It's very sad, but it's very beautiful. And with Maurice, it is originally a book by E.M. Forster, and it wasn't published until after his death. He never published it while he was alive, and it just made me like, to think that he like poured his heart out into a story like this. And it's basically 2 guys in the early 1900s who are at university in Cambridge, and they pretty much just end up falling in love with each other, and they're like best friends, but they can't be together because of the attitudes around homosexuality at that time. So it's just really interesting how it like navigates that and like the different paths that they choose to take as the story goes on. But it's very beautiful, very tender. And again, I think anything set in a university and school to me gives me like an autumnal feeling, because it's like back to school, and that's the feeling that I get from that film as well. So again, it's a sad one, but it's really lovely. And then the last one I would recommend is Good Witch, and it's kind of funny because it's so cheesy. It is a Hallmark series, but it's really nice to just stick on in the background, especially if you get sick of really high stakes TV all the time. Like sometimes I don't want to see everyone getting like blown up and dying and like all this stuff. I know it makes for a good story sometimes, but like sometimes you just want to rest. Good Witch, like basically nothing happens. It's about this woman who lives in this little town, very like Hallmark little walkable town, all these shots of like autumnal leaves and parks and coffee shops and stuff like that. And it's never like really fully confirmed if she's a witch, but she does like little magical things, and she can kind of like know what's coming next. It's all about like intuition, and she like puts people on the right path for them to like bump into each other and like, yeah, like do the right thing and stuff. It's very like heartwarming. The worst thing that could happen in it is like someone like forgets to do their homework or like sneaks out to the cinema or something. So it's very low stakes. It's very American. It's very like, oh, we're gonna have like a Halloween harvest festival, and we're gonna do like pumpkin carving and like, you know, make apple cider donuts and stuff. It's very that, but I think that's quite nice sometimes. So there's quite a few seasons of it, I think, and there's lots of films as well. Actually, there's films that come before it, so it's a nice one to watch if you just want to chill out. Okay, next I'm going to do wearable favourites, and some of these might be available, some might not. If there is anything that I can find, I'll try and get a link and put it in the description, but some of it is secondhand. This first thing I found is from Current Mood, and it is a beautiful, beautiful jacket. It looks like an old granny's curtain, which is why I knew I wanted it instantly. I have a thing for like weird ugly jackets, and my favourite style of jacket is this Afghan jacket where it's got like fluff here and fluff there, kind of like that 70s Penny Lane vibe. I always wear jackets like that. And when I saw this, I just thought, oh, the colours, it's like an old curtain or an old carpet. It's going to be so perfect for autumn. And it was finally a bit cold enough to wear it yesterday, and I just felt like, I've come into my true form, like my most powerful form when I wear these jackets. So I'm really, really excited to wear this throughout the autumn. And I just absolutely love it. It's not super thick either, which is actually good for this transitional period. But yeah, it's just stunning. I absolutely love it, and I was so excited to find it. And I got it on sale. It was £15. So I think that is a complete steal. The next thing I've been really loving, and this is actually from the charity shop. I think I've shown it in a video, but it's from Pull and Bear originally, and it's just this really nice, comfy bell sleeve top. It's a really soft material, and it's got this like little detail here, and it kind of like flounces out a bit. I love anything with like these types of sleeves as well. It makes me feel like so mystical, and I thought the colours were just like perfect for autumn. It's like, yeah, this rust kind of browny colour, and it's very like earthy. It kind of gives me like a, yeah, like 70s hippie kind of vibe. So I've been really enjoying this top. Okay, the next thing was originally from Disturbia, and it is this dress, which again is just like the softest, loveliest material. And it's kind of like a shirt dress, which I wouldn't usually go for, but I just thought the pattern was so beautiful. It is like owls and moons, and just like really, it reminds me of like a nighttime sky. And it was originally like really long, like almost to the floor. I'm not that tall, so my mum helped me hem it and make it a bit shorter, so it's a better length for me now. But it's just really comfy, it's really cozy, and Disturbia are one of my favourite brands for clothes because they just do that, like, yeah, they have that like folklore nature vibe infused into the clothes. So I always just love getting like something special from them, and I've been really enjoying this dress. Okay, last thing is another thing that I found on Vinted, but they're originally from Urban Outfitters, and they are these flares. They're like a velvet material, and the pattern is just really nice, and I thought, again, it's really nice for this period of the year. It's kind of like this earthy green with like kind of like purpley bluey flowers on, but it just looks really earthy. Again, that sort of like hippie witchy vibe. If I'm in flares in an Afghan jacket, that is me, like that is true me. So that's what I usually tend to wear. But I've just been really liking these. And if you go onto like Depop or Vinted or anything and you search for Urban Outfitter flares, you'll find tons of ones similar to these, because I've got another pair which are kind of like a bluey burgundy, but there's loads with like loads of different patterns on. So if you like them, I'm sure you can definitely find some for secondhand. I think these were like £10 or something. So I'm always on the lookout for nice secondhand clothes, as you know, and I've just been really enjoying these. Okay, and then I've just got a few other little bits to show you of stuff that I've been really enjoying. So I've been on the lookout for like nice skincare and just trying different things, like different natural brands and stuff. So this brand, Triskel Temple, sent me these two things, and it's all handmade in Ireland, and they are just really, really beautiful. So this is a face and body oil, lavender, rose and calendula, so just really nourishing, lovely ingredients. So I've been really loving that. And then there was this other one as well, which is, it's like a whipped balm. So it's kind of like a, yeah, like a moisturizer, like solid balm type thing. I love the smell of lavender. It's like, just, yeah, it's just amazing. So really been loving that. It's just so nice and like hydrating on the skin, especially going into these colder months. Which, by the way, I forgot to say, if you're thinking my eyebrows look crazy, maybe you haven't. I just got them done. I've never had them done before, so I was really scared. But they're kind of like really thick and dark in the beginning, and then they heal. So they're in the like flaky, dark phase right now. So yeah, I'm sorry if my eyebrows look weird. Another really random thing, but I've just been loving it, is I've just got this, which is a nail varnish. I rarely paint my nails because I have a problem with biting them like really badly. But I was like, right, I'm gonna force myself to paint them and try to grow them a little bit, because I'm just sick of having like really painful nails all the time. So I just thought I'm gonna get a nice nail varnish, and this is Rimmel London Black Cherries. I've got it on right now. It's really dark. I love like a really deep purple, like burgundy and stuff. So I've been really enjoying that. Then the scent that I absolutely love is from Lush, and it's called Karma. And I don't know if this is going to be just a favourite in every video, because this is like the only smell that I really like to wear. I have a weird thing with a lot of perfumes where they just smell like ethanol to me, like they just smell like chemical. So there have been a few that I found that have been really nice and natural. but I really like this one. This is a solid perfume. You can get it in a spray bottle as well, but you basically just push it up and then you can like rub it on here. And it reminds me of just like, well, I've been wearing it for so long that like off and on that it reminds me of like a lot of things from my past. So it's really got that smell to it. It says, our cult hippie perfume will shake you up and set you back down in 70s London. It's very like patchouli, a bit citrus, cinnamon, pine, that sort of thing. So it does smell like a hippie festival, which I really like. And then the final thing I'm going to share on the favourites is just a candle that I've been loving. So in Haworth, which I did do a video for, which is like this gorgeous little town, village in Yorkshire, they have a shop called Cabinet of Curiosities, and it's incredible. It's so well decorated. It's like an old wizard's apothecary basically, and they do like loads of candles and like bath stuff and yeah, all that type of thing. So I've been really liking this candle, which my friend got me. It's called Woodland Witch, and it's black amber, patchouli and moss, it says. And it's that like really nice earthy smell. It smells like if you go into the woods after it's rained with a little sprinkle of patchouli in it. So it's got that like earthy, spicy, musky scent to it, but it's not too strong. Like I've got a weird thing with scent, like sometimes I just find them really overpowering. But this I think was really nice, so I've been really enjoying burning this. So there we go, those are all my autumn favourites / recommendations. I could probably make this video like hours and hours long, and I don't know if this is the kind of thing you're interested in, so please let me know if you want to see one for winter, or you want to see like more themed book recommendations. Like I could do like a whole vampire themed book video, because I actually just realised I didn't mention any Anne Rice. All sorts of stuff that I could put in. I've done a witchy book video before, I think. I will link it somewhere so you can find it. But yeah, I just thought I would harken back to the old days of YouTube and do something fun. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please comment as well if you have any recommendations for anyone else, and we can all just find out about cool books and TV and fun things like that. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.